including myself, startups, industry, government, civil society, and also foundations. Each of them are very essential to making this collaboration across borders work. So let's use this space to listen, connect, and co-create practical pathways forwards. There's a bit of a lag. I don't know where to point this. All right. So the goal today is, so we want to have inputs from everyone. It's a collective intelligence sort of exercise to agree on how we will work together, what kind of ecosystems and enablers we can think of that can allow us, let's say I'm from Norway and we are in India, how can we work together? What are the means that can be made possible so that we can actually focus our efforts and agree on do's and don'ts and what is sovereign friendly and sovereign safe. So this is the goal. And those who contribute will also be invited to sort of be acknowledged as part of or co-author a 4-page policy brief that will be the outcome of this session. So the agenda for the today. So like I said, the World Cafe, the purpose is to gather collective intelligence. So it's very important that we make opportunity for everyone to speak and give their opinions. So it's not just me talking and you listening. So it's a very sort of a flat setup here. So every table. So we have different tables here. So since we don't have tables, we will have conversations in each row. So 1, 2, 3, and so on. Mats will give out numbers for each of the tables later on. So you will start by introducing yourselves. So you become aware of your expertise on the table. And then you'll appoint a table host. So one of you will actually mediate the conversation and guide the conversation, ensuring that everyone's included. And due to time constraints, there will be no formal rotation in the room. So usually there's rotation, but we won't have that. So capture your insights in a shared QR document. Document results from it later on. So the agenda for today is as follows. So we move from purpose to practice to action. We begin with a 4-minute lightning pitch by Alexandra Bekior, who will frame why cross-border applied AI matters now. This will set up the first discussion on interest, trust, and shared opportunities. Anil Sharma from TCS will then share works in real-world collaboration, leading to a second round on collaboration models. Pasi from Nokia will explore how to remain technologically open while safeguarding sovereignty, informing a third round. And finally, Anand Kamanwar will give his vision of AI Silk Roads, linking government, startups, and applied ventures. And finally, I'll outline the next steps for what will happen after this so that we can continue with the momentum. So with this, I would like to invite Alexandra to give her first lightning pitch. Alexandra, would you... you can do it even that, but it's up to you. Yeah, I think so.
Which is right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexandra Bekier. I'm talking to you from the vantage point of one of the largest research and technology institutes in Europe, SINTEF. We also have high impact collaboration here in India, as well as in low and medium income countries in the world. And we pursue a dedicated strategy to broker international networks for collaborative, solutions-oriented research for innovation, including in the dynamic space of AI. We also set up a number of deep tech startups in this space. There we go. Now, most conversations about AI focus on how smart the models are, but the bigger shift happening right now is something else. AI is becoming a coordination layer for society. It's starting to help complex systems adjust to each other, not just optimizing one thing, but balance many things at once. We're seeing this in energy, where AI helps managing electricity flows between regions with very different energy sources, renewables in one place, fossil, hydro another, and that's not just prediction, it's real-time coordination. And this idea goes beyond energy. Industry, logistics, climate response, all depends on systems that must constantly adapt to each other. So the real impact of AI isn't only that machines can think, it's that we're automating how systems interact. And once coordination becomes automated, the question is no longer just about performance. It becomes about who can participate, who can shape it, and how safely these systems work together. If AI is becoming the coordination layer, then a key question is who gets to shape the coordination? It only works when all participants have the capacity to make their own independent choices and shape their own life and future. We call it agency, not just access. It means local teams can adapt systems to their own realities, question AI outputs instead of blindly trusting them, and adjust how AI behaves in that context. And without this, countries don't take part in the coordination. They are simply coordinated by systems designed elsewhere. We can see what agency looks like at a national scale in India. India is investing in its own AI compute and developing models grounded in its own languages, data, and societal needs. That's not just technological progress, it's the ability to shape how AI works in areas like public service, agriculture, and industry. So capacity building is not a side topic, it determines who helps design the systems that increasingly connect our economies and societies. AI systems are not involved in one shared environment. They're being trained on different data, under different rules, and based on different assumptions about how the world works. That's normal. Countries have different infrastructures, regulations, and priorities. But when these systems start interacting, those differences don't disappear, they collide. And that's where risk comes in. A mismatch between AI environments can turn into systemic instability. Not just because one system is wrong, but because they were never designed to work together. Take energy systems. An AI model trained to optimize a highly stable grid with certain market rules may behave very differently when connected to a grid with different constraints, supply patterns, or regulatory structures. So the risk we face isn't just bad AI, it's misaligned AI systems or ecosystems interacting in tightly connected systems. And as AI becomes more involved in coordinating critical infrastructure, these mismatches scale from technical issues to societal risks. So if misalignment creates risks, the answer to centralize everything? No. Global coordination does not require one authority controlling all AI systems. That would just ignore local realities and reduce agency. What we really need are shared mechanisms. Shared testing environments allow systems to be exposed to conditions beyond their original context. And here I think about digital sandboxes, but also physical laboratories that we run, among others. Interoperability standards help systems understand each other technically. Cross-border validation means models are checked outside their home environment, and mutual safety principles create trust in how systems behave. Systems remain local, shaped by national priorities, etc., but they learn how to work together. And a good example is countries using joint simulation environment to test AI systems together, how they interact under stress without giving up control. It's about alignment. Let diverse systems cooperate safely. So just a little bit about what we do in SINTEF. AI impact depends on coordination, and many of our projects address this at complementary levels. READ builds coordination into operations, creating learning feedback loops. EnField ensures that coordination is safe and sustainable, developing trustworthy and energy-efficient AI that can operate reliably across domains. DataPact tackles the governance layer, compliance, and data spaces that allow organizations to share and use data responsibly without losing control. EDITO scales the planetary level, building shared digital infrastructure so countries and institutions can coordinate decisions using common models and data. And through the EU project OpenMod for Africa, we extend this model globally. supporting open global collaborative model in that enable 8 African countries to coordinate energy and development decisions using shared tools and data. Together, this is what a real AI impact requires: systems that learn together, act safely, and share responsibly. Thanks for listening, and hopefully we find partners for new projects. If India was to join the European Framework Programme for Research, that would be a fantastic enabler. Had I had more time, I could speak about similar topics on digital twins of the ocean and the intersection of environmental protection, or supply chains for critical rare earth materials, but there has to be some limits. Thank you for listening.
All right, so it's now time for the room to take action. So this brings us to the first round of the World Cafe. So you'll have about 10 minutes. So I'll moderate that depending on how much time we have left. So our guiding question for the first round is, how do we manage different interests across research, startups, government, and large firms while still collaborating effectively across borders? So at your tables, focus on trust across jurisdictions, data, intellectual property accountability, and how we can include startups and small and medium-sized enterprises. So you can start by introducing yourselves, appoint a table host, someone who can mediate the conversation, and let the conversation flow. There's no formal rotation, like I said. Most importantly, everyone can and should contribute, share concrete experiences and nuanced insights in the shared document. So let's begin. So you can... Yeah, okay. So you can... Yeah.
We have 18,000 people in India. 18. It's one of the biggest research and development hubs what we have. We have factories here. I mean, we have more or less all the functions. Actually, we have all the functions of the corporation here present. So we are here and we have been. We are market leader for internet books. It is very strong partnership with India.
My colleague Sagar is very keen on this international cross-border research collaboration. Are you involved in that?
We are not formally involved, and I think we should do more. We have been quite much in these telecommunications. Talking about the ecosystem. What really is ecosystem? The understanding is quite natural. There are as many definitions for ecosystem as there are people that you are asking it from. So we are trying to harmonize that. And now I'm also running this AI Gigafactory initiative for the Northern Europe. So we have Latvia, Estonia, Finland and Denmark work together, private sector and public sector, and we are going to be the biggest EU why not Sweden?
I know. But that's great. We'll have another opportunity for this. So I'd like to welcome Anil Sharma. He's the global head of TCS Coin Co-Innovation Network to deliver the next presentation. Anil brings lessons from global AI collaboration, what works, what doesn't, and how partnerships can scale across borders. So Anil, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sagar, and good. Thanks for having me here. I just want to give you a set. Can you hear me well? Okay. So I just want to give you a philosophical question. See, what is the purpose of AI, right? What should AI do for us? I think, see, in TCS we have this thinking, right? When you look at knowledge work, so what is knowledge work? The work done by doctors, engineers, marketers is all knowledge work. And what should AI do, right? So if you think about somebody like a good marketer, what is like an average marketer and the elite marketer, an average software engineer, elite engineer. See, there is a many order of gap between these capabilities. See, one paradigm shift we want to address is, can AI really bridge the gap between elite skills, average skills and the elite skills? That's one paradigm. That's one thing to think about how AI can impact the work. Whatever work we do, the work we do today as knowledge work would change in 1 year time, 3 year time. But this paradigm should not change. I think that's something which we believe in strongly. Second is, if you look at India as a country, we have a lot of communities, right? And there is an access barrier for everybody to even participate in services. Like if you look at rural population, they cannot access services. And if you even look at other areas where we think we are very capable, but our understanding, for example, when you visit museums, right, most of us just pass through the paintings which you have, artifacts, right? So this is one project which we did with Munch Museum in Norway, Oslo. And the idea here was not to build AI which, say, for example, will learn how Munch paints painting, not to train a model to essentially learn how the Munch would paint and then allow other people to create painting in his style. But that's not a paradigm which would be accepted in a culture, in Norway's culture. I think this is where when we're building AI collaboratively with other countries and other cultures, we have to be very sensitive about what is possible and what is acceptable. I think the paradigm here is, the idea which we built here was very simple. See, most of us like to draw, right? Now if the question is, if I draw, can I ask Munch to show me what paintings he has drawn? And that idea really worked here. And I think so idea needs to be simple, and this removes the access barrier for most of the people who go and discover art. Now, if you look at most cultural institutions in the world, most of their artifacts are in the vault. Munch only has 3% of their artwork in the galleries. 90% of it in the vault. And this system which we created allows people to experience most of his collection today, right? So, and I think when you're building AI for culture, it is not that you can just build and scale. So we went through several lab pilots in Norway with real users. So there was a lab 1, we learned from it. Lab 2, we learned from it. And then it will be scaled out in a full exhibition in this June. So anybody who is visiting Norway, you should be able to see this exhibition from June to December of this year. So this is one example. This is another example in India. How many of you know what is Kumbh Mela? Right, most of you. So in the Kumbh Mela of 2015 is where we got involved with the community there. So we actually created a momentum in the city of Nasik, and then we deployed 15 interventions. And that was probably the most digitally enabled Kumbh Mela in the country. And what we have done is, here we want this Kumbh Mela to be the most AI enabled and accessible Kumbh Mela. So what we are doing is, again here, it is about not technology. So the technology which we are using is from MIT, Nanda. This is a very promising initiative in the world, which is rethinking about when we will have billions of agents on internet, what does the internet of agents look like, right? Then you have to solve a lot of issues about trust, incentive, how do you transfer money securely, and things like those. So this is a very good architecture which is being now developed by a lot of players in the world, and we are also participating in this architecture. So anybody who is interested, Professor Ramesh Raskar is doing many sessions in India Summit. The idea here is simple. Like a lot of people who visit Kumbh Mela, they are not very literate. They speak many languages. So idea is, can we build a personal agent for every pilgrim who comes to Kumbh Mela? So this is essentially augmenting how people can participate in what you call an experience economy, or can access services like transport, homestays, health, and things like those. I think there are design principles here for India, which is even if you do, we have to be privacy first, right? We need to take consent. We need to build it securely, and we have to build it around trusted systems in the country. So the India DPI, DigiLocker, and all those are very trusted systems. So we are going to build this over those systems. So we have now built demos again here, because this was going to go live with 50 million people. It is not easy to get it correct. So again, going through lab pilots, we're going to do a lab pilot with 10,000 students. And this year and next year, we will use a lot of experimentation to get it right. As an example of what we're doing. I think this is the question you had asked. What does it take to do cross country collaboration? MIT is a technology built in US. We're bringing it to India and making it relevant. Monk was an example of we as a creative technologist and a culture institution working together to create, which works in country like Norway. But the idea there is you always need to have a regional partner, a local partner who understand the cultural context and also understand the user very, very well. There has to be a great incentive to work together. There has to be trust built out, and it takes time. Again, human centricity, right? Even if it is AI, we have to make it really human centric. Otherwise, it does not work with people. I think that's the message I wanted to give you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Anil. Next on the agenda was actually another round of World Cafe, but we're going to keep that for later because of the lack of time. So I would directly like to invite our next speaker, who is Pasi. And Pasi is the Senior Vice President at Nokia on strategic government and industry. He brings clear perspective. Sovereignty is not an isolation, but control over critical layers and openness is not just a value, but an economic strategy. So with that, I'd like to give the word to Pasi, who will talk from his point of view.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Yeah, as it says, my name is Pasi, and before going to the actual topic, I want to say I love India. This came up yesterday's dinner discussion. I have been coming to India almost every year, sometimes multiple times per year since 1999. I know some of you were not even born at that time. It was very different. It was very different place at that time, and it has been fascinating to see how the country has evolved, how the infrastructure has evolved, how everything around the different industries and others have been changing. And we were thinking earlier that, is this concept going to work here? Because we are not having those tables. And of course it does work, because this is India. Everything is possible. The country and the wonderful people inside it, they just find the way to make it work. But now more about the topic itself. For me, this all comes down to ecosystem thinking. How many of you think that you have a good definition, or definition that you feel familiar? What is ecosystem? Raise your hand. I'm sure that you have all been thinking, but you something that you feel that, yes, this is my definition. Good. I think that is good, and also a little bit the challenge. public sector, the different government agencies are having their definition of ecosystem. Private sector players, different industries, different companies, different associations, they having their definition of ecosystem. And as we are ending up talking on a headline level, that leads to confusion. And then complementing that confusion with everything what is happening in the geopolitics, at the pressure for sovereignty, we have a perfect soup in our hands. My definition, and I'm not saying that it would be the right one, but my definition of ecosystem is it's a trust-based get-together of everybody who is interested in about the topic. You don't set borders, you don't set limitations who is able to play, who is allowed to contribute. The value is distributed transparently and fairly within that ecosystem. And that has been sometimes a little bit even painful in certain conversations, because the world where we are coming, most of us, is somehow dictating or directive that, I'm the biggest company, I have the most money. An ecosystem should not be led by that thinking. It should be, I'm a good member of ecosystem, I have good idea that everybody are able to benefit. Philosophically, it's almost the opposite ends of collaboration. It's not me, it's us. Let's do this together. And it is giving us, who are having that trust to join in this ecosystem, it's giving us a wonderful opportunity to innovate, to inspire each others, and boost the success beyond the individual companies, individual agencies who are participating. I am worried in this AI era that especially the startups, academia, are left behind easily. And I was listening very carefully our friends talking earlier, and even the previous panel. It's difficult to find that highest quality compute power if you are early stage of your company. In ecosystem, you can allocate that good in a different way based on the perceived value for the whole thing. I see tremendous opportunity for all of us to work as an ecosystem. Oh, now it did go too far. This is now getting really, real time. Latency is off. This is just an illustration about ecosystem when you turn it as a technology, when you turn it as a stack. And now specifically for this AI market, the world has seen the representation of the most powerful companies. We have seen valuations in the Wall Street that we have not seen before. It's of course also changing the expectation how it is going to work. And I think, and I'm not here to disqualify any company or actually opposite. I'm admiring if some has been that successful, but it's not necessarily always the easiest when we are talking about the sovereignty and the ecosystem. Modularity is the key to be successful as an ecosystem. Open interfaces you need. It needs to be, as I mentioned, open, predictable, and fair. Open, predictable, and fair. That everybody within the ecosystem can connect there. And that's the best way also to protect your sovereignty. It's clear. Many countries, also players in the private sector, they have learned that, I want to keep some part of my data in my own hands. This is the answer. Here you can define the systems following that principle and satisfying that need as well. And I don't want to go for company marketing, not at all, but this is how we are doing it in Nokia. We promote open interfaces in traditional telco world and now in AI era. I'm a regular member there in European Commission talking about how to do it in practice. Ecosystems again. How we are forming ecosystems around the most compelling topics and making sure that they are really following the trust foundation and being fair for every direction. Internal openness. It's very important as well. I mean, how the culture inside the organization is supporting the openness, how it's supporting the innovation. We are very used, like the private companies are used to, I'm the most powerful one, I'm the most powerful. Also, the hierarchy within the organization has been quite strongly dictated. I have been protesting against the hierarchy in the organization for 10 plus years, sometimes successfully, sometimes not that successfully. But I mean, it's fascinating when you know that you are quite high in the organization and you are having that environment where the individual engineers or whoever within that group is daring to come to you and share the thoughts and really, seek for that soundboarding. It's very rewarding. And then, of course, the communities and the standardization. How we are able to make the standards which are connecting the different members of the ecosystem together. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Pasi. I think we'll move on to the last speaker of today, which is Anand Kamanwar. So Anand is at the intersection of government, startups, and deep tech supply chains. Helping turn research excellence into real-world deployment through collaboration. And he will be talking about his concept of AI Silk Roads. And very fittingly, Anand, as you all know, means joy. A reminder that our shared goal is progress and that benefits everyone. So please join me in welcoming him for the closing remarks.
Good morning. It's great to be back in India, as always. Let me start by giving a quick 30 seconds of context of what Applied Materials and Applied Ventures is very quickly. So Applied Ventures and Applied Materials sits at the intersection of the semiconductor industry and physical AI. We make the equipment that makes the chips, including the NVIDIA chips, the AMD chips, the Intel chips, the HBM memory chips, and so on. And we also make some of the biggest TVs, or the equipment power some of the biggest TVs in the world. So every time at Diwali, you go from a 50-inch to a 60-inch, 65-inch. We are the technology that powers it as well. Quickly, I head Applied Ventures. We are the corporate venture arm of Applied. We have been investing in the deep tech sector before it was sexy. We have deployed over $500 million, and we are looking to, including in 19 countries, including Norway, Finland, and India, among other things. I know we are short of time, so let me be direct. Right, there's a whole discussion around what is a national AI strategy. And there's no such thing as a national AI strategy. I think it is all about global AI and how we position within it, right? So a lot of people talk about, the algorithms are coming from somewhere else, but keep in mind the data is all local, right? The data is sovereign. So you need, and obviously the compute is expensive. So you have to work together as collectively to make this happen, right? So most people think that the bottleneck in AI is the models or the GPU compute and data centers and power. I think you're going to hear a lot about it during this conference. I don't think that is the biggest issue. I think the biggest bottleneck is trust, right? I think trust has to move across borders, right? If that doesn't happen, none of this AI stuff is going to happen. There's also one other reality we should probably also be very much focused about, right? One is if you see this whole AI and the semiconductor industry, right? The semiconductor industry was pretty benign or flat and maybe under the radar for the last few decades. People talked about Moore's law and here and there, but last few years, the stock market is watching the whole semiconductor stack has changed, right? We were internally modeling semiconductor industry to hit 1 trillion in 2030. The good news is it's going to hit this year. Okay, 1 trillion of annual spending that in the semiconductor industry. It's going to happen this year. Okay, so and we expecting by 2030 will be out to around 1.5 trillion, and I can bet you we'll be wrong. We are under indexing it by a wide margin. But underneath all of this AI and data centers, right? What we are worried about, and at least I'm looking from the Silicon Valley side of the world, is there is significant, and we're not even seeing this. We're not even feeling the effects of it here. But I can trust you, in a couple of years you'll see the effect. The entry-level jobs are going away by a huge margin, right? I have a kid in college, and I don't even know what to advise him because advice changes every 3 months, right? And it's not about just coding, right? It's about marketing, legal, finance, customer support, design, operations. Everything is changing. The last I coded was maybe around 20 years ago, but over the weekend I was able to use cloud to create a fully automated audio transcription, right? And it did a better job than what I as a 20-year-old could have been doing it, right? I'm telling you, this change has changed it so significantly that we don't even know what's going to hit us badly. So the question for India is not will AI change work. I think the question is India be ready before the disruption becomes visible at scale, and that's why this whole cross-border discussion is important, right? At Applied Ventures, right, we have been. Okay, so at Applied Ventures, we are not talking about this only academically, right? We have been doing this joint venture funds with various regions, right? As I said, we have invested in 19 countries. So we have created this joint funds with the government of Korea. We have created a joint fund with Taiwan, with an organization called ITRI. That's where TSMC was born, and MediaTek and UMC. Some of these companies might be this one, right? So one of the things we did see there and we learned there was, right, is we did this not just for a press release, right? We are not operating that. It was purely the architecture, right? The Korea brought a lot of systems depth and manufacturing discipline. They are the leaders in HBM memory, if you guys are, right? And Taiwan is a big player in the whole logic side of the world. But India does bring in talent, software, and the ability to make this work under real life conditions, right? So that's why we are excited about the collaboration in India. So a lot of this framing is East versus West. I honestly call it bullshit, right? This whole discussion is how do you make this happen, right? The data has to stay local, right? There are going to be data centers built in India. People are going to complain about, oh, we don't have power for this, we don't have power for that. Why are they using data centers? It's going to happen, right? I think the question is how do we adapt it, and I think the people in the room are going to drive this, right? In more than anything else. So for decades, right? We have been talking about it, and I'll just give an example of how we did this with the Korea and the Taiwan fund, and we are hoping to do the same thing with the European fund and as well as the India fund, right? So one of the things that we really did was we did not push for these companies. We invested in these companies. We did not push these companies to move to US or Europe to grow, right? We grew these companies in Korea and Taiwan, right? So for example, in the Korea fund, we invested in 6 companies, 4 went IPO, grew the R&D, grew the IP right in Korea itself, and the 5th one is filing for IPO this year, right? Very successful, but both strategically for Korea it has done well, and we hope to create the same setup model here. In India, we invested in a company called BVDN, which is driving significant amount of business in the electronics manufacturing. They have a big booth here at the event as well, right? So to end, right, I think there's a lot of discussion around roti, kapda, and makan. I think we should definitely add AI to it, right? It's going to help transform, and I don't think India is going to be left behind. We are pretty bullish on what this is going to happen in every shape or form. So in the end, I would like to say, like, this whole cross-border collaboration is not a nice PR or press or a nice just an event like this. It is going to happen. I think we just have to adapt it and move faster than anybody else. Anybody who's thinking that, oh, I don't want to use algorithms from here, I don't want to use data from here, etc. I think we are going to be left behind. Anyways, thank you so much, and look forward to this cross-border collaboration.
All right, I'll just talk about this. So thank you so much to all the speakers for a wonderful presentation, and thanks all to the contributors. We didn't manage to do all the rounds that I had imagined, but we would still like to write a policy brief. So if you are interested in participating and contributing, put your contact information in the shared document, and we can have a meeting online or something later on. Let's get this conversation going. This was meant to create momentum. So if there are any questions for the speakers, now is the time. We have about a minute. Yes, first one there, and then one here.
Thanks for putting out all the truth in black and white. There is a lot of...
Can you introduce yourself?
I'm India, and I work with a lot of these cross-border spaces with a lot of delegation, and we do a lot of delegation. I come from behavioral science background and part of a lot of innovation ecosystems. One of the primary challenges we see is everybody actually wants their products to be research-based, which means collaboration everybody wants. But we have really hard walls. And those walls have people, bureaucracy, a lot of things. And I think AI is a big hope leveler because it can get virtual, it can get democratic, it can get smart, where ideas and really people who worked on it matter. It will not be about the AI efficiency that the person can speak in, but the technical expertise they bring in. So I think we're at the right time, but we still need structures where we could maneuver through all this. Like as simple as I just took a delegation to Africa. And the thought process absolutely changed when people realize Africa is just no more Africa. There's so much of Indian and people have got a similar background. So I think a lot of more cultural cross-collaboration, what Pasi was talking about, has to be a little base to this, because just technology, just innovation alone may not be able to bring in the trust
Do you have
factor.
a question for the speakers?
Yes, my question is,
Yeah.
at this point, do we right now see something brewing in that direction?
Yeah.
Because if you see this whole AI, even the summit, right, everybody's talking about the AI layer alone. Like there's a lot more below at a socio-economic collaboration layer. Can we have a more democratic ecosystem for startups to be part of, where it's not just ideas, but actual collaborations opened up?
And
with a
anyone would
academia?
like to take that question?
I can take it. For me, it's not conditional, it's an imperative. We have to take that better into account and take the responsibility that it works accordingly.
Thank you. One more question, please.
Maybe there may be some kind of...
Can you introduce yourself?
yeah,
sir?
I am Subbaraju. I am a founder, mentor, Good Seva. Good Seva means good service. It's a combination of goods, service, as well as good service. It is a supply chain optimization company. Actually, there are a lot of conflicting paradigms are operating at the global level. Like one paradigm is not invented here. The other paradigm is duplication of effort. We will all have same technological availability. One can do, the other can also do. So that is an also issue. We will have a commoditization of technological availability and accessibility. And we all invent the same things. Here in Sweden or India, somewhere China, there's some kind of a duplication of effort.
Can you
There is-
state
there
the
is-
question,
yeah.
please? Because the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
round is
Here, how this collective intelligence is possible, and is it not a conflictory or thing? Some at your country level, at your company level, there is conflict of interest, and how is this collective intelligence?
We can have one word from all the speakers. So we can start with Alexandra.
Or maybe you want to. Well, I think it's impossible to coordinate all activities, and I think duplication of effort is also part of competition. And my biggest worry in the AI space is the monopolization, that there will only be five companies extracting all the data from all other countries. So competition is good. I also think trusted third parties like a foundation like my own can bring together ecosystems and then hopefully also make space for startups. That's my
Thank you,
5
Alexis.
cents.
Anand?
I think we just have to be ready for a world where the cost of intelligence is going to be zero. Okay? It won't be like, I have to have the access to the best people and the best researchers, right? The question is, what do you do when everybody has the same level of intelligence or access to the same level of intelligence that the world superpowers have, right? What you can do with that is mind-boggling, right? So I think less worry about who. If you were to ask 3 years ago or 5 years ago, Google was going to win everything. If you ask today, OpenAI is going to win. If you ask tomorrow, Anthropic, we don't know, right? The world is changing, but remember, if the cost of intelligence is going to zero, what can we do with it, and how do we make ourselves more productive? I think that's
We
the
need
real
to
important
move on to the next speaker so that... Anil, could you have the final word?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think, my view is there are always going to be geopolitics, right? So for that reason, people may want to build and duplicate effort. But see, when the market matures, I'll just give you an example. If you know what Toyota and Suzuki did in India, see, they have licensed a mid-market car here, like if you know Artiga, and Toyota Romeo is the same car, right? The idea there was that why do you spend 3 years creating a mid-segment car that is already proven? So I think eventually at some point of time, this
Anil, we have
maturity will
speakers
come in.
waiting outside. If you
Right?
can quickly finish
So-
it, it would be great. We also have photographs for everybody.
It's all set.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Put in your contacts and we'll stay in touch.